behalf of Mr. Tellis, who is present.
We all ready to go?
We are ready to proceed.
Okay, everybody got their information this morning?
Yes, Your Honor, in light of us receiving that from the RJ this morning, and we are kind of at a continued calendar call, the state would ask the court to obtain waivers from the defendant that he is waiving any further search of Garman's computer, which he received today. He's waiving challenging any of the privilege assertions by the review journal on his phone, Garman's computer, and he's waiving any further searches of the devices because under the search protocol and stipulation, he could have challenged any of those, but he's opted not to on any of the devices and the phone. And presumably, this is perhaps against the advice of counsel. I don't think he's made an explicit waiver of any of those privilege assertions.
So are they turned over documents?
It did.
But then there was still information that they were claiming privilege.
That's correct, on the computer as well as his phone. And as the court knows, under the agreement, we could have challenged those, either side could have challenged those, and it would be subject to like a procedure outlined in the agreement. And my understanding is that the defense is opting not to challenge any of those privilege assertions. Well, we have to be ready for trial when the court sets trial, so we're ready.
Did they turn over any information?
Yeah, we have some information on both of those devices, but the state's belief is that if there was other potential, well, I guess if there's potentially exculpatory material on any of those devices, Mr. Tellis is opting not to challenge any of the privilege assertions. We have no idea what's in those, and he's opting not to do that on the phone and the computer.
How much information was turned over? I'm just wondering, was it locked?
I think Mr. Chavez is standing up, so he could probably give us kind of a gigabyte term.
Yeah, good afternoon, Your Honor. David Chavez on behalf of the Review Journal. So yeah, we dropped off a copy of the hard drive to both parties this morning. The hard drives contain a ton of information. I don't know the precise megabytes, but after cutting out all of the privileged material over which we're not waiving privilege, I think we have about like a little bit, like perhaps a third of the laptop still, and much of that information pertains directly to this case. And we contend that information is still privileged, but we have chosen to waive those privileges to further the parties' dispute.
Okay, the information relevant to this case.
That's correct, and we'll also note that we produced the phone as well and the information from the search warrant as well months ago, obviously.
And I could say, with respect to the desktop computer download that they just turned over, it was 64.5 gigs.
Thank you very much.
And parties are ready to proceed?
The state's ready to proceed. I would like the court to inquire of Mr. Tellis if he waives further access. We're happy to be excused if you want to have a discussion with him and his counsel about that waiver.
I think that probably would be appropriate, Your Honor.
And you think the state needs to place out that defense of the state?
I think that would be appropriate as well. Obviously, there should be some questions. And the state, I think their questions are appropriate. So I think you should canvass my client in reference to those.
Okay, so it appears that he is waiving those.
He is, yes.
All right, so state will excuse themselves. Judge. Mr. Drasticus, do you want me to?
I would prefer, yes.
Okay. I mean, I don't know, you can put it on hold and then. There we go. Okay, all right, so Mr. Drasticus, do you just want to indicate for the court exactly what your client is waiving?
Yes, Your Honor, I guess we'll start with their list, the last matter and move towards the beginning.
Okay.
I've advised my client we did receive these materials today. We've outsourced this. We brought in an out-of-state expert to Manifest Trials who was in possession as part of our office, or part of our defense team, reviewing the materials turned over. My client understands that there will not be further analysis. All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Can we bring the state back in?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's that, our first 65 panel?
They're being brought up from the
Oh,
12th floor
okay,
and
I just
lined
wanna
up.
make sure. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, the record reflects that the state is back in the courtroom. Has been canvassed. I know we have a couple of motions before we bring the jury panel in. And I know, the motion to dismiss, is there anything further?
It has been fully briefed. We've submitted it to Your Honor, so it will be submitted on the briefings.
Second,
I'll submit it on the pleadings, Your Honor.
okay, the motion to dismiss is denied. The motion in limine, there are a few things in the motion in limine. The first one has to do with photographs. I would just defer any ruling until we have all of the photographs marked as proposed exhibits, and you can make your objections at that time.
That's what we anticipate. Thank you.
I mean, obviously, you've seen them all.
We have.
Okay, and then, the next one is, admission of all testimonial, confronted hearsay. Do you wanna add anything?
Our position is fairly clearly laid out. The state's going to argue, and I would anticipate there being a special jury instruction that it's not the truth of the matter, that basically this would perhaps go to motive. But nonetheless, we've briefed our concerns in reference to this. Obviously, these articles contain hearsay information that is testimonial in nature, and based upon those bases, we're objecting to their admission.
So the state's position is we're not here to engage in a finding of whether or not what's alleged in the articles is true. We're just going to enter the articles themselves into evidence as indication of motive. We're not going, we'll have to discuss what the content is, because that is a basis of motive, but not whether what Mr. Gehrman wrote about Mr. Tellis was true.
Okay, and I know I indicated I would give it to Laura's instruction,
Yes.
before that testimony comes in, so Mr. Gaston, I only gave it if you request it.
And obviously, we are going to request that instruction be given.
Okay, if you want to prepare it,
We will.
ready, I will give it before and at the end, when the jury is instructed on the law. The last one is the testimony of Kimberly Dannenberg. Anything you wanted to add?
We'll submit it on the briefing.
That's the witness testimony that we took.
That is correct.
Right, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. That part of it is denied. And D also has to do with the news articles. I'm assuming it's just, if you want to add anything.
We'll submit it on the briefing.
Okay. So it's denied. And the first one, the photographs, that will be deferred until all photographs have been marked and you can make your objections at that time.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Not on behalf of the state.
Nor on behalf of the defense.
So you're ready to bring the first 65 in?
Sure.
I think you. Figure out their waivers.
We just have to rearrange. Are you gonna have to sit in those 2 rows?
Oh, I pulled a gun out and let them know I could have got you right now.